Hi guys, welcome, and who dat? I'm Joe, and today we are doing another mock draft for the 2024 NFL Draft for our beloved, bless you boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. And this mock draft will be with trades. In my last mock draft 3.0, we traded Marshon Lattimore before the draft started. And I believe that's something that the Saints could do again. I'm not going to do it in this draft. Let's just say we either keep Lattimore or we trade him after this draft. But I still believe trading Lattimore is going to happen. It's in the future for the Saints. The question is, what are you going to get from Marshon Lattimore? And I think our asking price is a first-round draft pick. Jalen Ramsey was traded a couple of years ago when he was 27. And I believe the comp was a third rounder and a fourth rounder. I don't know if the Saints let Lattimore go for something that low. They could, and we could use it in this draft for sure. But I believe the starting price will definitely be a first-round pick, and I personally believe Arizona would be in the mix for that, as well as Detroit at pick 30. Yeah, I think Detroit might be that landing spot next time I decide to trade Lattimore. But we're not trading him here. And here's the draft picks that we have to work with. All right, that's your picks. We did this mock draft on Pro Football Network. And the picks are as follows. First round, pick 14. Second round, pick 45. And then we don't pick again till the fifth round. We have 9 total picks. 4 of them in the fifth round, 2 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh. This is pretty much what I expect the Saints to get. A total of 9 picks, but 7 of them in the fifth, sixth, or seventh round. So that's my issue with this draft. You get 2 good players in the first, second round, and then you don't draft again until the fifth round. I mean, look at that. Pick 45, and then you don't pick again till pick 148. All right, that's over 100 players taken in that gap. I mean, there's only about 250 players taken total in the draft. So to me, it's obscene to sit here and think you're going to get a decent draft trying to find diamonds in the rough in the fifth round. Hey, that's fun, and we've done this on this channel. We've done it already. Mock Draft 2.0. We had no trades in that one. And then I ended up doing a second one on that video with trades because I can't stand the thought of taking 2 players in the first 45 picks and then not picking again for another 100 and something picks. I mean, I'm not putting up with it. So suspend your belief, okay? Because the Saints don't trade down, but I am in the market to trade down. So the parameters I've set up in these mock drafts for myself is if someone wants to move up and take a spot where I'm at, they're going to have to make the offer. I'm not going to make an offer to move back. I can do that and manipulate it, and it's great. I can rack up 20-something draft picks if I do it, if I initiate it myself. I'm not going to do that. If someone wants to move up to my spot, I'll see what they offer. I'll make a counter if it'll work. That's how I operate. Now, when I decide I want to move up, I'm going to, of course, initiate that trade and then see what we can get from that. So ideally, picking at 14, if I decide to trade down, I would like to go no further than 20 or 22nd. And, I can acquire some good picks with that kind of a move. But since I'm not initiating a trade down, I have to take whatever's offered to me, either take it or pick where we're at. And so this draft starts, and when the Saints get on the clock at pick 14, there are 2 players there I'm interested in taking. Brock Bowers, the tight end, is still sitting there. And Talisé Fuaga is still there, the offensive tackle. That's the guy I have pegged for the Saints to take at 14 in just about all of these mocks. I think this is my 4th video, 5th mock, and Fuaga's been there every time but once. He would be a great pick for the Saints at 14. And I only have one trade offer. Only one team is wanting to move up. And that's the world champion Kansas City Chiefs, who, of course, is picking dead last in the first round. Now, since I'm not initiating a trade back move, this is the only one I have to consider. What the Chiefs are offering is we swap first round picks. They're going to give me their second round pick, their third round pick, and their fifth round pick. And next year, they're going to give me their second round pick and another fifth round pick. So they're offering me 5 draft picks. In total, it would be two second round picks, a third round pick, and 2 fifth round picks. And the second and fifth would be for next year. So I look at this haul, and it's not bad. It's 5 picks. But I am falling out of the first round just about completely if I make this move. Another thing to consider is a second round pick this year for the Chiefs is 1 pick away from the third round. A third round pick from the Chiefs this year is 1 pick away from the fourth round. And the fifth round pick is 1 pick away from the sixth round. And because they're 2-time Super Bowl champs, perennial all-time winners, you assume that the picks next year are going to be pretty low picks too. So I don't get the chance of acquiring a second round pick and a fifth round pick next year and then having that work for me when I do a mock draft next year. That's not the way it's going to work. So in reality, I would probably take this trade, acquire a second rounder, a third rounder, a fifth rounder, and then have a second and a fifth next year. That's what I would do. But since this is a one-time mock draft this year only thing, I counter with the Chiefs. And instead of taking a second and fifth next year, I just take their fourth and their sixth this year. So they get off cheaper, but they're giving up their entire draft class. But they want to make the move. And like I said, if this was reality, I would take the second and fifth next year, along with the second, third, and fifth this year. But instead, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swap the first. I'm going to take their second. I'm going to take their third. I'm going to take their fourth. And I'm going to take 2 fifths. That's how this one's working. So instead of a second and a fifth next year, I'm getting these 5 extra picks. This is the move. I'm not stoked about it because I'm falling all the way to the bottom of the first round, but it's the only trade back option that was offered. So I take it. The Chiefs moved up to 14 and grabbed Talisé Fuaga. So they gave up their entire draft this year to go and get the right tackle that I would have drafted. So that's the move, and now instead of having 9 picks, we have 14 picks. And of course, I want to draft as soon as 32 comes. Desperately, without a doubt. And when pick 32 comes up, I have a couple of players there that I'd really like. I'll look at the depth at each position. I like what I'm working with here into the second round. So with pick 32 in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select defensive end Darius Robinson out of Missouri. Now, I said that earlier he was a third or fourth round projection. I think taking him in the first round is a bit of a reach, but that's if you're picking at 14. If you're picking with the last pick in the first round, and the best edge rushers are off the board at this point, the lighter guys, Robinson, to me, is a nice fit. He's going to take Cameron Jordan's place in a couple of years. He's going to have a couple of years to learn it. And until that time comes, we can still bounce Robinson inside on passing downs at defensive tackle. So we improve our pass rush there with Robinson. He can still be our third down defensive end. And we'll probably put Isaiah Foskey and Peyton Turner out there on the edge. If we re-sign Zach Bond, we'll have him on the edge as well. But Darius Robinson is a guy that probably needs some work. And If he takes Cameron Jordan's spot in a couple of years, he'll have a couple of years to get ready. I like the pick because he is going to get used early in his career, whether he's out there just on third down or he's taking Cameron's spot for a breather, or we're bouncing him inside a defensive tackle on certain plays. We're going to get some use out of Darius Robinson. The last pick in the first round belongs to the Saints, and it is Robinson. So pick 45 comes up for the Saints, and I'm very interested in offensive line, of course. And there are about probably 6 players at this spot here at 45 that I'm willing to take. 4 of them on the offensive line. And I get a phone call from Cincinnati. They want to move up from pick 49 to pick 45. And they're willing to give me a 4th round pick for it, pick 115. So I move down 4 spots and acquire an extra 4th. I like that, especially since there's 6 players on the board that I really like. I'm taking an approach of somebody is still going to be there, and I get an extra nice 4th round pick as a result. So I make the move with Cincinnati. So now we are picking at 49, and we have acquired that extra 4th round pick. Yeah, now we have 15 picks here. We've already gotten Darius Robinson, so pick 49 comes up, and yeah, I'm not going to go back any further. A guy I want is there, and I'm taking him. With pick 49 in the 2029 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select offensive lineman Kingsley Suamataya out of BYU. Massive guy at 6'6", 315 pounds. Guyton was on the board at 45, and I made this trade down, and Guyton was selected before I picked. Guyton was my guy, and I got an extra 4th round pick for making this move, but I don't get Guyton. I think Guyton is going to end up being a better overall tackle prospect in the league. But Suamataya is not a consolidatory pick for me. This guy, to me, is at worst James Hurst, only younger, because he has the flexibility to play tackle and guard. He has the flexibility to play both sides of the line. So he comes in and can immediately plug and play anywhere you need him on the offensive line. So whether you've re-signed James Hurst and Max Garcia, or whether you've re-signed Andres Pete and Garcia, or maybe Andres Pete and James Hurst, you've got a piece here with Suamataya where you can place him wherever he needs to go. So maybe Pete prices himself out of another contract with us. But we re-signed James Hurst. You know, Trevor Penning doesn't look like he's going to be the guy. Maybe he turns a corner and he is our left tackle. But I'm kind of thinking we're going to re-sign Hurst and Garcia. And to start the year, we're going to have Hurst at left tackle, Garcia at left guard. You get a guy like Suamataya, and he can plug and play anywhere. So does he upgrade from Hurst at left tackle? Maybe. Then you can put Hurst at left guard, which is an upgrade over Garcia. If Suamataya doesn't work out at left tackle, if he's not an upgrade right away from James Hurst at left tackle, I think you can still plug him ahead of Garcia at left guard. So either way, you've got a piece, and, of course, right tackle Ramczyk. If something happens to him and he can't go, Suamataya is flexible enough to put out at right tackle. So I like the pick. I like the versatility. I think Suamataya is a plug-and-play anywhere to start. You may have some bumps and bruises at tackle along the way, but a nice piece. So now we have our edge rusher and an offensive lineman. I'm stoked. I'm looking at our draft picks now, and we're not picking again till pick 64, the very end of the 2nd round. That's the pick we got from the Chiefs. And I see some players that I really want. I'm looking at wide receiver, and there starts to be a run on them. And I'm afraid by the time they get to 64, my choices are going to be slim. So I'm trying to move up. And I can't get a deal done with 58, can't get a deal done with 59, can't get a deal done with 60. But at 61 is the Detroit Lions, and they're willing to deal. They're willing to deal and willing to take a whole bunch from me. They will move down 3 spots if I give them 3 draft picks. Absolutely insanity. But nobody else wanted to do it. And at this point, my options have decreased down to 2 players that I've identified with 3 spots to go. So I go ahead and make the deal with Detroit. It's a 5th round pick, pick 191, a 5th round pick, pick 200. I'm sorry. A 6th round pick, pick 191, a 6th round pick, pick 200, and a 7th round pick, pick 229. So it's the last 3 picks I have. 2 6s and a 7 just to move up 3 spots in the 6th round. But I have 15 picks, and I'm not going to use all of them. I've got these extra picks. I want to use them. I'm clearing out 2 6s and a 7 to get a player I want in the 2nd round. I go ahead and make the move. And I'm looking at Detroit like, you guys owe me a favor. So hopefully they can come in and later on when I really need something and do something for me. Because 3 draft picks for 3 spots, that's rich. But we have the capital. We do it. And instead of picking at 64, I'm picking at 61. And I get the player that I was eyeballing, the guy I really wanted. With pick 61 in the 2024 NFL Draft, in the 2nd round, the New Orleans Saints select wide receiver Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky. 5'11", 210 pounds. He's on the short side for a wide receiver, but he's built like a running back, and this guy is going to be a special player in our offense. He's the yak god. He's good with the ball in his hands. He can make people miss. He can line up as a wide receiver, and we're going to train him to play a little running back too. And that's my vision for Malachi Corley. Now, he can't be our ex-wide receiver, that's for sure. I'm hoping we address wide receiver in free agency. And that way we can be flexible with the draft pick, and we can take a chance on a piece like this. Malachi Corley, to me, is a 3rd or 4th round guy, but I make a move to get him in the 2nd round because he is a special player. He never drops the ball, and he's going to make a lot of people miss, and I like the idea of having this weapon in our offense. And he ends up being our 3rd pick. Malachi Corley at pick 61. Okay, so now our next pick isn't until pick 95 in the 3rd round, and that's that Kansas City Chief bottom of the barrel 3rd round pick. And I'm not going to sit around and wait. I'm going to try to move up. And I do have a player in the New York Giants. Now, for me to move up from pick 95 in the 3rd round to where the Giants are at pick 70, that's a 25 spot jump. From the bottom of the 3rd round to the top of the 3rd round. It's going to cost me. And it cost me 2 5th round picks. Pick 168 and pick 157. So the Giants, they have a lot of picks in this area of the draft. I believe the Giants have 2 seconds and maybe 2 or 3 thirds, or a couple of thirds, a couple of fourths. The Giants have a lot of picks here at this spot in the draft. So they can drop this far with one of their picks to acquire extra picks later on. It's not like they're going to miss out on the talent that's at that spot in the draft. They have multiple picks. Now they have 2 extra 5th-round picks. And the Saints move up 25 spots all the way to pick 70. And I'm glad I'm here because there are 2 players that I really want, and I could literally flip a coin for which one I'm going to pick. And while I'm trying to make up my mind, Arizona calls me. They have pick 71. I'm at pick 70. And they want to move up to 70, and they're willing to give me a 6th-round pick for it. Pick 187 in the 6th round. And I figure, well, I'm basically going to flip a coin for one of these players anyway. Can't make up my mind. Worst case scenario, Arizona, they give me a 6th-round pick and they take one of them off the board, and then my choice is made for me. So I go ahead and make the move with Arizona. They want to move up 1 spot and give me a 6th-round pick. Sure, I'll do it. Nice. And I forget who Arizona drafted, but it was neither one of the players I was targeting. So my dilemma continued for another 15 minutes, right? But I do make the pick at pick 71. And with pick 71 in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select defensive tackle Tandre Sweat out of Texas. I'm shocked that he's still here. People are talking themselves out of taking him in the 1st round, okay? He's squarely a 2nd-round projection now. And because he's so big, 6'4", 362 pounds, and he weighed way more than that at the Senior Bowl. So we're talking a guy pushing 380, 400. Okay, he's an athletic dude, and he's probably going to lose weight before the combine. And he can make things happen on the defensive line. At worst, he's going to clog the middle up, demand a double team, and free up everybody else. The worry is taking him early. You might not get a lot of plays out of him. He's going to need a break. you might be better off if it's a passing down, having a different player out there. So yeah, he's a guy that's only going to be used on run downs, early downs, stuff like that. That's why he slips into the 3rd round. And because he's such a massive talent, in my opinion, a solid 2nd-round talent, he's a great fit at the 3rd round for the Saints. All right, we just picked Tandre Sweat. And yeah, I had to leave for a minute and come back, and it's way later now, but I'm going to finish this. Everything looks a little slightly different, maybe. So we've got 4 players drafted now. And I'm pretty excited. I've got 2 people on the defensive line. I've got an offensive lineman. I've got a wide receiver. I'm interested in getting another piece for the offensive line. So our next pick now is at 115. And we just picked at 71, and I don't want to wait 40-something picks to pick again. I've got 7 picks I can mess with, so I'm going to try to trade up. And pick 115's in the 4th round, and we've got the whole 3rd round to wait around, and I'm going to try to make a deal. And guess what? The Detroit Lions are going to let me move back into the 3rd round. Well, yeah, good. Good things come back around. I gave them 3 draft picks just to move up 3 spots before. So now Detroit is going to let me move from pick 115 in the 4th round to pick 92 in the 3rd round. And I'm giving them a 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick to make the move. So that's pretty good. That's a 23-spot jump for the Saints, and it's only going to cost us 2 picks. So Detroit comes through in the end for us and lets us move back into the 3rd round. And I wanted to make this move and get up there because there were a couple of players that I knew wasn't going to be there at 115. And this is a guy that I target quite a bit in my mock drafts because I think he would be great for this team, and it's a position we need. With pick 92 in the 3rd round of the 2024 NFL Draft, The New Orleans Saints select cornerback Mike Sainristil out of Michigan. 5'9", 184 pounds. He's got the skill to play on the outside, but he's too small. That's why he always lasts into the middle rounds, but he's going to make a perfect nickelback for the Saints, and it's a position we need to fill. You know, in my mind, I hope we re-sign Ugo Amadi, and that'll be our nickel to start with, but who's the depth there? I mean, we're going to have Alontae Taylor on the outside. I think we're going to trade Marshawn Lattimore. We're going to have Paulson Adebo and Alontae Taylor on the outside. Nobody wants to see Alontae Taylor play nickelback anymore. So you get Ugo Amadi. Hey, that's great. I think he's a fine player, but where's your depth? You know, if something happens to Ugo Amadi, what are we doing? We're putting somebody out there that can't handle it again. I think Alontae Taylor showed quite a bit. Even though he struggled at times, he also made a lot of plays at the nickel spot. So I think focusing on nickel, if you're going to go in the secondary in this draft, is probably the biggest need. I know we need another safety. We need some youth there. If we get rid of Marshawn Lattimore, it'd be nice to have another outside cornerback. But I think nickelback is a priority. And that's who I'm taking with the 92nd pick. All right, so we've got Mike Sainristil. We've got 4 picks left. And now I'm not picking again for another 40 picks. Because my next pick is pick 132 in the 4th round. And I'm watching some offensive linemen start to peel off the board here. The second wave. And there's a couple of players I don't want to miss out on. So I'm going to move up in the 4th round. And I get a dealer, and it's Pittsburgh. They have pick 119, and they're willing to swap from 119 to 132 where I'm at. And it's going to cost me a 5th round pick 173. So that happens for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They pick up an extra pick. I think there's a big difference in the top half of the 4th round into the talent level of the second half of the 4th round. So this move for me is worth it. That leaves me with 3 picks left. And at pick 119, I'm grabbing one of the offensive linemen that I am excited to get before they're all gone. At pick 119, the Saints draft offensive guard Christian Mahogany out of Boston College. 6'3", 322 pounds. Christian Mahogany is going to fit into the scheme just fine. My issue with him is it seems as though he's stuck at right guard. Don't know if we can bounce him around. Not sure if he can play on the left side or not. I don't see him as a swing guard tackle kind of thing. I think his spot is right guard. So Kingsley Suamataya has some flexibility. Not sure if we're going to put him on the left side or the right side. Not sure at tackle. Or if he's just going to play left guard. And Christian Mahogany now looks like we've got us a backup right guard. So I say we ride with Cesar Ruiz for the rest of this contract. Christian Mahogany can be the primary backup. If something happens and we need to move Ruiz to center, we've got a good backup right guard now. And hopefully he can learn to play on the left side and we can get some use out of him. But, I'm done with Cesar Ruiz. We gave him a nice big contract, and he plays like one of the worst guards in the league. So we get us a guard in the 4th round. It's going to take his place. It's going to be a lot cheaper and probably going to be just as productive. All right, we've only got 2 picks left, and if I just stay put where I'm at right now, we're going to end up with 8 picks. I'm willing to trade down with one of these picks if I can pick up a couple of extra picks, but nobody wants to move up, so I'm stuck with these last 2 picks. And with pick 166, I'm completely stoked because I think in real life this player is not going to be here. Actually, in real life, I would target this player in the third round. But he's here in this mock, and I'm stoked to get him, even though I'm addressing offensive line again. With pick 166 in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select offensive tackle Christian Jones out of Texas. 6'6", 321 pounds. Christian Jones is going to play left tackle for this team. I think he can do it. What I see out of Jones at tackle is a guy that can start a tackle. And he showed he could go either side, left or right. And at the Senior Bowl, he played guard because they wanted to see what he could do. And he managed pretty good there too. Don't know if Jones ends up a complete swing tackle guard type. But I think he shows a lot of athleticism and skill at the tackle position. I think we put him in at left tackle right away and let him compete with Trevor Penning and whoever else we have on the roster, whether it's Andres Pete or James Hurst or whatever else. I know he's going to be better than Landon Young. I'm really hoping Penning turns into something. I hope Penning turns a corner and we forget all about this 5 years from now. We're talking about how great this guy is. You never know, but we're going to find out eventually, I guess. And I'm interested in getting somebody to compete there at left tackle for sure. And it was a high priority in the earlier picks for me. But I missed out. I missed out. I could have got Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma with the 45th pick, but I acquired extra picks. I end up getting Kingsley, Suamataya, and I think he's going to play left guard for us. And Christian Jones is going to play left tackle. And we've got Mahogany to play right guard. I like building pieces in the trenches. We've spent so many draft picks in the trenches over the last couple of years that didn't pan out, that it seems like it's going to take years for us to make it all up. Or we can address it aggressively in the draft with some really good players, and maybe we can get the fix sooner than later. And I have to wait 5 more picks, but with my final pick in this draft, in the 5th round, pick 171, I address the trenches on the defensive side once again by drafting edge rusher Justin Eboigbe out of Alabama. I'm a fan of his. 6'4", 292 pounds. He's considered an edge rusher. He's also considered a defensive tackle. So he showed at the Senior Bowl that he can play all along the defensive line. I like having a big body on the line that can be versatile. Now, we've got that in Darius Robinson. I expect Robinson to take Cam Jordan's place. And Robinson is going to be a starter for us. And he's going to be a nice pro. But now we've got another big body in Justin Eboigbe. He can line up at defensive tackle on those pass rushing situations. I was thinking of kicking Robinson inside on pass rushing situations. Maybe Isaiah Foskey takes the edge or Peyton Turner, and Robinson can be in the middle. Hey, Peyton Turner's going to be gone sooner than later. I mean, 1 more year. I don't think we re-sign him. I don't think we gamble unless we can get him for like $1.5 million or something like that. So you hope your edge rusher's going to show up eventually in Isaiah Foskey. But if Darius Robinson turns out to be a good edge rusher and he can play all 3 downs, you can keep Robinson on the edge and put Eboigbe in the middle. Or you can put Eboigbe on the edge and bounce Robinson in the middle. Got a couple of 292, 95-pound guys that are going to play on the defensive line. So that makes, and that's the end of this draft, that makes 3 defensive linemen in Darius Robinson, Tandre Sweat, Justin Eboigbe. Want to get better at defensive line? There you go. You got 3 pieces. And of the 8 draft picks, we managed to get 3 on the defensive line, 3 on the offensive line, with Kingsley, Suamataya, Christian Mahogany, Christian Jones. Pretty good pieces. I like the players. It's not just the positions that I addressed. It's the players that I got. There's no way Jones lasts till the 5th round. And, I'd rather have a couple of more interior pieces than Mahogany when it's all said and done. But there was a run there in the 4th round, so I'm happy to have him. And Justin Aboigbe, I flirted with the idea of getting Javon Solomon there instead, who was a lighter edge rusher. He kind of projects to be a linebacker in my mind, where Aboigbe can play all along the defensive line. So there was an option there to get a different kind of edge rusher. We had the big guy in Darius Robinson. We could have gone light with Javon Solomon. So I'll say that, that's, now that I look back on it, it was an option. But overall, we get 8 players, 3 in the defensive line, 3 on the offensive line. We got a nickel back, and we have us a wide receiver / X Factor type. I like it. It's a good draft. It's fine. The way the Saints are set up right now, we're going to have 9 picks, and 7 are going to be 5th round or less. So if we can manage this, getting 6 players in the first 4 rounds instead of 2, then I'll be happy. And you can address it any way you want. I kind of wish we would have got a linebacker, kind of wish we would have got a running back and a safety. But, you need to pick up extra picks to do all of that. We picked up a bunch of extra picks. We had 15 at once. We were able to maneuver and get back up into the earlier rounds and snag 6 players in the first 4 rounds. And that's a nice draft. And we didn't give away any future draft capital to do it. And as far as talent goes, I think we managed pretty good. I wish, I'm happy with Christian Jones. I think he's a solid tackle. Suamataya, I project him to be a swing tackle guard, but plugging him in at left guard seems like an upgrade from where we're at right now. If we re-sign Max Garcia or if we re-sign James Hurst, yeah, I give Suamataya a chance to beat out James Hurst at left guard. I do. And even though Malachi Corley's too small to be a starting every down receiver, he's a great little interesting piece that can probably make a lot of plays. So I'm excited about that. Tandre Sweat's a massive dude in the middle, and he's not going to have to stay there all day because we can just swap in Justin Aboigbe when Sweat needs a break. I think we should personally re-sign Malcolm Roach, and then we'll have a couple of pieces there. We still have Colin Saunders. So Tandre Sweat, Colin Saunders, you got big meat in the middle. I think we'll move away from Saunders sooner than later. Although I love him playing jumbo package fullback. Not sure if there's a place for that in a Clint Kubiak system. But there you go. That's my latest mock draft for the Saints. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10. My intention is to do a future mock draft in the next couple of weeks. That is something that I think the Saints would actually do, which means we're going to probably trade away half of next year's picks, and we're going to end up with 5 players. But when I try to do it, it just breaks my heart. But yeah, I got to think the way the Saints do. So those of you who think these mock drafts are completely unrealistic because of what the Saints would do, look forward to that predictive mock draft by our actual Saints front office. That ought to be fun. It should be funny for most. It's going to be painful for me. And yes, subscribe to my channel also so you can keep up with my breakdown of the draft. We're doing the offensive players. We've already finished the defensive players. Go back on my channel and watch all of them. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?